Hello guys and welcome back to Spa for the second race of the weekend here. We are getting ready for the sprint race. And for those of you who didn't catch the main race there, I certainly recommend you go back and do that. It was an excellent race. But for those of you who didn't and are not going to, we managed to win that race. Hence, we are starting 8th on the grid here today for the sprint race. And as such, our success here today is probably going to come down to whether or not we get out of the gate here in one piece, because definitely these first couple of laps, starting in the middle of the pack there in Project Cars, can be very hairy indeed. Anyways, getting ready for the start here. 3 red lights, waiting for the green one. Not going to jump the start this time around. We get out of the gate nicely here, right behind Christopher Gonzalez-Diaz. We actually managed to go down the inside of him there, so we actually gained a position already there in the first turn there. And Chris almost running off the track there completely, and somebody almost bumping wheels with us as we were unable to make out who was on our right shoulder there. And as a matter of fact, we managed to dive down the inside of Gonzalez-Diaz's teammate there, Alicia Samuels, who was in second position, as we are into P2 here on the opening lap of the sprint race. And so far, we still have Mark Cosens leading the race there. He's kind of pulling away from the rest of us, running a little wide in turn 9, and coming into Brussels, we failed to cover the inside line there. Alicia Samuels taking full advantage of that, and we are back into P3 as Alicia Samuels is in P2. And I gotta say, I really love this about the AI in Project Cars, this particular part of the AI anyway. You just leave them a slight opening there and they take full advantage of that. I didn't even notice Alicia coming down the right-hand side there as we come through the sweeping left-hand turn 12. They're almost on the gearbox of Alicia, trying to go down the inside, but we need to back out of that one. Chances are she was probably just gonna close the door on us, perhaps taking both of us out of the race there. So at the moment, we're just gonna hang back here and see if we can't wait for a better opportunity. And just to cover a technical aspect here, we've opted to go with the same setup for the cars we used for the main racer, with one slight difference there. We've opted for a soft compound tire instead of the medium one, trying to see what we can get out of that one. Again, very fast on the straight here, catching up to Alicia Samuels, trying to go down the inside, but whoa, does she close the door on us? Wow, defensive move. Judging by this, we need to be careful here. We could easily put ourselves out of the race here if we're not careful. I'm guessing the best place to overtake here today is going to be on the Kemmel Straight there, and only on the Kemmel Straight. Anyway, lap 1 status, we start in 8th place there and end up advancing 5 positions as we are into P3. Jumping ahead to lap 3 here, we are catching up to Alicia Samuels here on the Kemmel Straight, as I was talking about. Good place to overtake. We're going to make the move down the inside here, see if we can't make it stick, but again, she closes the door on us. We need to back out of that one and are unsuccessful in our attempt. So again, some excellent defensive driving here by Alicia Samuels on lap 3. We need to get closer to her than this if we're going to have any success in passing her on the Kemmel Straight there. Again, coming down the back straight here, very close indeed. See if we can make the move again. A little apprehensive here. She's going to close the door. We're not even going to try that. Contemplating diving down the inside, but thinking the better of it too, and just, it's all going to be about just staying close here and hopefully getting the chance on Kemmel Straight again.
That's the fastest lap of the race. Great lap. He's slower than you in
and this time around, we're a lot closer here. We're going to be flicking the curves, moving into the slipstream there, diving down the inside there, making the move stick. Lots of room for that. And we are back into P2 here on lap 4. So back into P2 here. The hunt is on for first position here as we come into Brussels yet again, almost making the same mistake as we did last time. Alicia Samuels trying to go down the inside there, but apparently we have a little bit too much of a head start on her coming into the corner this time around, and even though we run wide a little bit, she's unable to make the move stick. Jumping ahead to lap 6 here, coming through a Rouge, we've managed to close the gap on current race leader Mark Cosens. We're going to be trying to make the same move as we did on Alicia Samuels here, but we're a little further back, so I'm not sure whether we can make it stick into the slipstream. Going down the inside there, see if we can make it stick. No problem whatsoever, as we are currently leading the race. And I'm not really sure what the deal is with the foggy picture here. It got foggy in the race a little later on. Obviously, the replay pictures are from a replay that I saved and recorded separately, and it appears that it doesn't follow the race incidents or the race weather, for that matter, 100% there. And also, the helmet and gloves seem to change each time you watch the replay. Jumping right ahead to lap 9 here, the weather conditions, as I was talking about, are starting to change a little bit here as things are getting a little hazy at this moment. And this is basically what we were seeing on the replay there a couple of laps ago. They're not really sure what's with the weather in replays, but I guess that's a buck to weed out later on. Opening up a nice gap down to Mark Cousins in P2 right now. We are currently leading by 3 seconds. And so far, I have to say, the car's been handling absolutely beautifully up until this point anyways, and I'm not entirely sure how this soft compound is going to hold up for the remainder of the race here. Obviously, it's only a 15-lap race, but Spa is a long track, and I have to say I haven't really driven a stint over 6 or 7 laps on the soft compound so far in Project Cars, so that's going to be very interesting to see. Skipping right ahead to lap 12 here on Kemmel Straight. As you can see, the hazy conditions there are getting a little worse here. Visibility is down, and I'm certainly not hoping it's getting any worse than this. On the bright side, however, we are opening up a very nice gap down to Mark Cousins, as we are currently leading the race by about 5 seconds. And obviously, opening up a nice gap here is nice, but there's also a downside to it here, because at this point we're starting to think just a little bit too much about how are we going to be taking each corner, what kind of gear do we need to be in, how fast can we go through the corner, all kinds of stuff that you don't really need in your head when you're trying to maintain a lead here late in the race, because obviously it's a lot better just to do this off instinct, really, not trying to overthink your racing. And given the fact that we've been in this situation before here earlier in the season, throwing away easy points and situations where we've made completely unprovoked driving errors, I have to say I'm starting to get a little bit anxious here. Skipping ahead to lap 14 here, coming through Brussels one more time. We have a nice gap down to Mark Cousins, still 5.5 seconds here. And it appears that, well, I'm not really sure whether or not this is the case, but in some of the races that we've managed to win so far this season, it appears that the P2 car during the last lap, or the second to last lap, will just sort of start easing off on the throttle a little bit if they're a couple of seconds back and don't really feel like they can catch you. And I'm not sure whether or not they're just trying to play it safe or it's just a coincidence. Lap 15 out of 15 coming through A Rouge out on Kemmel Straight here. We still have a nice 5-second gap down to Mark Cousins here, and it's all going to be about just nursing the car home here, not making any stupid mistakes here on the final lap. That would just be a complete heartbreaker. Short shifting through Brussels here. Do not want to spin the rear wheels coming out of a turn here. That is a recipe for losing the car into the barrier. And given the fact that this is a sprint race and we have a nice 5-second gap down to Mark Cousins there, going off track at this point, well, if we don't suffer too much damage to the car, it appears that if you look behind, a couple of seconds behind Mark Cousins there on the mini-map, there's a cluster of about 5 cars there, and spinning off track at this point here can easily be the difference between finishing first or 7th or 8th. And I have to say I'm certainly happy that we did not have these kind of weather conditions here when we were in traffic, because obviously looking at the video right now, doing this commentary bit, just closing out the race, it doesn't look bad in any way, but I certainly remember it to be a lot differently when actually racing there. So very happy with the fact that we have a clear track ahead of us here. Only one turn left to negotiate at this point, and we're going to be making this a full house at Spa, winning both the main race and the sprint race. Just one turn remaining, and that is going to be all she wrote for this weekend here. So completely clearing the table here this weekend at Spa, both winning the main and the sprint race here. I'm not sure who is going to get the points for fastest laps in the main and sprint race, but I do know that given the fact that we ended up finishing or starting on pole there for the main race, we are going to get an additional 2 points for that. And as you can see, there are 17 points for us. Mark Cosen's finishing second here today. He gets 12. Alicia Samuels rounding off the podium in third. Like I was talking about there, getting the pole position, actually that's an additional 4 points there. Another 2 points for the fastest lap of the main race, and another 2 points for the fastest lap of the sprint race there. Talk about cleaning the table. So current championship standings, we are leading the race for the championship here. 118 points. Christopher Gonzalez-Diaz and Jose Vasquez sharing second. Both have 83 points. And Mike Mannion in third or fourth, or whichever way you want to think about it, has 58 points. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to this channel for more Project Cars action. And I'll be back soon enough. Bye-bye.